Do this one habit daily and 90% of diseases will disappear after 60. Memory, cancer, and vessels. Most people expect life after 60 to be a slow decline, a gradual surrender to memory lapses, aching joints, and the quiet fear of a doctor's diagnosis hanging over every annual checkup. It's the image we've been sold for decades, that age inevitably steals our vitality, that illness is just a matter of time, and that the best we can hope for is to delay it a little. But that story is incomplete, because there are people, scattered across the globe, who prove it wrong every single day. They are not superhuman. They do not live in high-tech labs or take experimental treatments. They simply practice one simple habit, day after day, a habit so deceptively small it can slip under your radar, yet so powerful that science now recognizes it as a shield against the very diseases that devastate so many lives after 60. I want you to imagine something, not a fantasy, but a version of your own life in the years to come. You wake up in the morning without that stiffness in your back. Your mind is sharp enough to recall a conversation from last week, a phone number from 20 years ago, and the name of the neighbor's dog without hesitation. You walk up a flight of stairs without thinking about your knees. You laugh easily. You have the energy to take on the day. And at your next medical check, your doctor shakes their head in disbelief at how steady your blood pressure is, how clear your arteries look, how healthy your heart sounds. This is not magic, and it's not luck. It's the result of doing something so simple, so accessible, that it almost feels too easy to work. The truth is, the majority of the diseases that haunt people in their later decades, heart disease, strokes, certain cancers, and even many forms of dementia, have their roots in the years before they appear. They grow quietly in the background, fed by poor circulation, chronic inflammation, and stress that we've come to accept as just life. But just as these conditions build up over time, the defenses against them can build the same way, and that's where this habit comes in. It doesn't require expensive supplements, complicated diets, or hours in the gym. It requires something far more valuable, a few intentional minutes each day, repeated consistently enough to become a part of who you are. This is not a quick fix. It's not something you try for a week and then forget about. It's a seed you plant, one that grows into a tree so deeply rooted in your daily life that it stands strong against the storms of age. Every time you do it, you are improving blood flow to your brain, giving your immune system the tools it needs to fight back against rogue cells, and keeping your blood vessels as flexible and clean as they were decades earlier. Over time, you may notice that the small signs of aging, the ones everyone else accepts without question, arrive more slowly for you, or in some cases not at all. I'm going to take you through the science, the stories, and the practical steps, so that by the end of this you'll understand exactly how this works, and why skipping it is like leaving your body unguarded. This habit is not about chasing youth. It's about preserving the clarity, strength, and independence that make those later years worth living. And if you start now, whether you're 30, 50, or already in your 70s, you will be setting in motion a chain of changes that your future self will thank you for every single day. Number 1. The truth about aging that no one tells you. Aging is often painted as an unstoppable slide toward fragility, a slow trade of strength for weakness, memory for forgetfulness, independence for dependency. We see it in our parents, our neighbors, the people at the grocery store who move just a little slower each year. We are told it's natural, that it's just how life works, but the reality is more complicated. Yes, time leaves its marks, but the speed and severity of that decline are not set in stone. Much of what people assume is the unavoidable result of getting older is actually the consequence of decades of small, repeated choices. The way we move, eat, sleep, handle stress, and most importantly, whether or not we maintain the basic systems our body depends on to keep us alive. The real story of aging begins deep inside your body, in your blood vessels, your neurons, and your immune system. Over time, your blood vessels lose their elasticity, like an old rubber band that's been left in the sun too long. This stiffening means your heart has to work harder to push blood through, and with less flexibility, arteries are more prone to tiny injuries. Those injuries become breeding grounds for plaque, fatty deposits that narrow your vessels and restrict the flow of life-giving oxygen to your organs. That's how heart disease and strokes take root. It's a slow, silent process, often starting in your 30s or 40s without a single symptom until it's almost too late. In the brain, similar forces are at work. Reduced blood flow starves neurons, making it harder for them to communicate. Your brain cells need a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients to repair themselves and grow new connections. Without it, memory fades, reaction times slow, and complex thinking becomes harder. This is why so many people over 60 find themselves forgetting small things or struggling with focus. It's not just old age, it's biology responding to years of neglect in the body's circulatory highways. Then there's inflammation, the slow-burning fire that can smolder inside your body for decades. Chronic inflammation damages tissues and confuses your immune system, making it less efficient at spotting and destroying harmful cells, including cancerous ones. Add oxidative stress to the mix, where unstable molecules called free radicals damage DNA and proteins, and you have a perfect storm for disease to take hold. But here's what's rarely said out loud. While these processes are common, they are not inevitable. In cultures where movement is built into daily life, where certain rituals are repeated consistently, people age differently. Their vessels stay supple, their minds sharp, their risk of disease dramatically lower. Science now knows that our lifestyle choices can directly slow or even reverse many of these changes. And it all comes down to consistent daily actions that protect your body's foundational systems before damage becomes permanent. Number 2. The one habit that changes everything. So what is this habit that can keep your vessels flexible, your memory clear, and your immune system strong well into your later years? It is the simple daily combination of intentional movement, deep breathing, and mindful hydration, performed in a way that stimulates circulation, floods your cells with oxygen, and flushes out metabolic waste. Done every day, it doesn't just maintain your health, it actively repairs and fortifies it. You might be expecting something complex or exotic, but its power lies in its simplicity. At its core, this habit is about 3 things working together: moving your body enough to engage large muscle groups, breathing deeply enough to expand your lungs fully and saturate your blood with oxygen, and drinking pure water at the right time to support blood flow and cellular function. When you combine these, you create a physiological chain reaction that benefits every major organ. The origins of this approach can be traced to both ancient practices and modern science. In traditional cultures, people often began their day with stretches, gentle exercise, or walking, not as a workout but as a way to wake up the body's systems. In Japan, morning radio calisthenics have been a nationwide habit for decades, and they correlate with some of the lowest rates of heart disease in the world. In yogic traditions, breath control and hydration rituals have been used for centuries to cleanse the body and sharpen the mind. From a scientific standpoint, the magic happens in your endothelium, the thin layer of cells lining your blood vessels. This layer produces nitric oxide, a molecule that tells your vessels to relax and open wider, improving circulation and lowering blood pressure. Movement and deep breathing stimulate nitric oxide release, while proper hydration ensures your blood isn't too thick to flow freely. Over time, this reduces the wear and tear on your arteries, protects your brain from microstrokes, and keeps your heart's workload manageable. There are countless stories of people who adopted this habit and saw measurable improvements in just weeks: lower blood pressure, better sleep, clearer thinking, more energy. But the real magic is in what happens over years and decades, the quiet prevention of diseases that never get the chance to develop. And because it's simple, it's sustainable. You don't need expensive equipment or a perfect schedule. You just need the willingness to make it part of your daily rhythm, like brushing your teeth or having breakfast. Number 3. How this habit reverses vessel damage. Inside your body, your blood vessels are far more than just passive tubes carrying blood from one point to another. They are living, dynamic structures that respond to what you do every single day. When you neglect them, they slowly stiffen and narrow, reducing the efficiency of your circulation and forcing your heart to work harder. But here's what most people don't realize. The damage isn't always permanent. Your vessels can heal, given the right environment, and this daily habit is one of the simplest, most effective ways to create that healing environment. When you move your body with intention, even at a gentle pace, you increase the demand for oxygen in your muscles. Your heart responds by pumping harder, pushing more blood through your arteries and capillaries. This increased blood flow gently massages the vessel walls, stimulating the endothelial cells to produce more nitric oxide. Nitric oxide signals your vessels to relax and widen, improving circulation, not just in that moment but for hours afterward. Over time, this repeated expansion and relaxation acts like a flexibility workout for your arteries, helping to reverse stiffness and prevent the micro tears that lead to plaque buildup. Deep breathing adds another dimension to this repair process. When you inhale fully, filling your lungs to capacity, you're not just taking in more oxygen, you're also creating subtle changes in pressure within your chest cavity that help blood move more efficiently back toward your heart. This improves venous return and helps your circulatory system operate more smoothly. Better oxygen delivery means your cells, including those that line your vessels, can repair themselves faster and more completely. Hydration plays a quiet but critical role here as well. Blood that is well hydrated flows more easily, reducing strain on your heart and lowering the risk of clot formation. Think of it like oil in an engine. Without enough, the moving parts grind and wear down faster. With enough, everything runs smoothly. In just weeks of consistent practice, people often see their blood pressure drop, their resting heart rate improve, and their endurance increase. Over months and years, the benefits become even more significant. You're not just preventing further damage, you're actively restoring the suppleness of your vessels, improving nutrient delivery to every organ, and reducing the risk of life-threatening events like heart attacks and strokes. It's a slow, steady reversal of a process most people believe is inevitable, and it starts with minutes, not hours, of focused daily effort. Number 4. The brain-boosting power, preventing memory loss. Your brain may only weigh about 3 pounds, but it is the hungriest organ in your body. It consumes roughly 20% of your oxygen and nutrients, and it relies on a constant, uninterrupted blood supply to function at its best. When circulation falters, even slightly, your brain feels it almost immediately. Reaction times slow, memory recall weakens, focus slips. Over years, reduced blood flow can contribute to the death of brain cells and the shrinking of brain tissue, paving the way for dementia and other neurodegenerative diseases. The daily habit we've been talking about directly counteracts this decline. Each time you move, breathe deeply, and hydrate, you are sending a surge of freshly oxygenated blood to your brain. This does more than just feed the cells you already have. It encourages the growth of new neurons and strengthens the connections between them. One of the key players in this process is something called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of BDNF as fertilizer for your brain cells. It supports their survival, helps them grow, and makes it easier for them to communicate. Higher levels of BDNF are linked to better memory, sharper thinking, and a lower risk of cognitive decline. Physical movement triggers the release of BDNF, while deep breathing ensures that the oxygen those growing cells need is in abundant supply. Hydration supports the transport of nutrients to brain tissue and aids in clearing away waste products that can impair function. It's a three-pronged approach that not only maintains brain health but actively enhances it. Studies have shown that even light activity, if done consistently, can increase hippocampal volume. That's the part of your brain heavily involved in forming new memories. This means you're not just slowing the loss of cognitive abilities with age, you're actually building reserves that make your brain more resilient to damage, and the benefits extend beyond memory. Improved blood flow and oxygenation also enhance mood by boosting the production of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. That's why people who commit to this habit often report feeling more positive, less anxious, and more mentally energetic. Think about the ripple effect. Sharper memory means better communication, better problem solving, and a stronger sense of independence. It means being able to recall stories for your grandchildren, navigate new technology without frustration, and continue making decisions with confidence well into your later years. Your brain is designed to adapt and grow, even in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. It just needs the right environment to do so. This habit creates that environment every single day. Number 5. Cancer defense mechanism. Cancer doesn't arrive overnight. It begins as a tiny microscopic rebellion inside your own body, a single cell whose DNA has been damaged, and starts to divide uncontrollably. Every day, each of us produces thousands of these abnormal cells. Normally, our immune system is equipped to detect and destroy them before they can take root. The heroes of this defense are your natural killer cells and T cells, the body's own security forces that patrol your blood, tissues, and organs. But like any security system, they can only do their job if they're well supplied, well trained, and not overwhelmed. This is where the daily habit becomes far more than just a cardiovascular boost. Consistent movement, deep breathing, and proper hydration create an internal environment where your immune system can operate at peak efficiency. Movement increases circulation, which means those immune cells are constantly on the move, scanning every corner of your body. Deep breathing floods your bloodstream with oxygen, and cancer cells hate oxygen-rich environments. Proper hydration supports the lymphatic system, your body's secondary circulatory network responsible for filtering toxins and transporting immune cells. Without enough fluid, your lymph can stagnate, slowing down your body's ability to spot and eliminate threats. Chronic inflammation is one of the key factors that weakens immune defenses against cancer. Inflammation, when short-lived, helps your body heal, but when it becomes constant, triggered by stress, poor diet, or inactivity, it can actually help damaged cells survive and spread. The daily habit works like an internal reset button. Movement reduces inflammatory markers, deep breathing calms the stress response that drives inflammation, and hydration helps flush inflammatory byproducts out of your system. Over the long term, these changes add up to a more vigilant, more responsive immune system. In some studies, people who maintained regular light to moderate daily activity had significantly higher counts of active immune cells and a reduced risk of certain cancers, including breast, colon, and lung cancers. It's not a magic shield, but it dramatically tilts the odds in your favor. And perhaps most importantly, this habit builds resilience at a cellular level. Your cells become better at repairing DNA damage, more resistant to oxidative stress, and less likely to turn rogue in the first place. Instead of waiting for illness to strike and then trying to fight back, you're creating conditions that make it harder for disease to ever gain a foothold. This is prevention in its purest form. Number 6. The science of daily consistency. If the habit is so powerful, why do so few people stick with it? The answer is simple. We are wired to underestimate the impact of small, repeated actions. In a world obsessed with big transformations, the crash diet, the extreme workout plan, the expensive health retreat, it's easy to overlook the power of something that takes just a few minutes each day. But biology doesn't care about dramatic gestures. It responds to consistency. Your body thrives on repetition. When you perform the same healthy action daily, you're not just improving your health in that moment, you're teaching your body to operate differently all the time. Think of it like training a muscle. Lifting weights once won't make you stronger, but lifting regularly creates structural changes in the muscle fibers themselves. In the same way, this habit creates structural changes in your blood vessels, your lungs, your brain, and your immune system. Neuroscience explains why daily practice is more effective than occasional effort. Habits are formed through what's called a habit loop. Cue, routine, reward. At first, you may have to remind yourself to move, breathe, and hydrate. But over time, your brain begins to crave the reward, the alertness, the calm, the subtle lift in mood, and it becomes automatic. You don't have to fight with yourself to start. It simply becomes part of your identity. Dopamine, the brain's motivation chemical, plays a key role here. Each time you complete the habit, dopamine reinforces the behavior, making it more likely you'll do it again. And because the habit is quick and easy, it sidesteps one of the biggest obstacles to consistency, the feeling that you don't have enough time. 5 minutes is nothing, but 5 minutes repeated daily over years is everything. There's also the principle of compounding. Just as money invested over decades can grow exponentially, small daily actions compound into massive health benefits. A single day's effort might lower your blood pressure slightly or boost your oxygen levels temporarily. But over months and years, you're literally reshaping your physiology, making it harder for disease to take root and easier for your body to recover from stress. This is why daily beats sporadic. 2 hours of intense effort once a week may burn calories, but it doesn't train your vessels to stay flexible or your brain to expect regular oxygen surges. Your body remembers what it experiences most often, not what it experiences most intensely. By showing up every day, you're sending a clear message to every system in your body. This is how we live now. Number 7. Real stories and transformations. It's one thing to talk about science, mechanisms, and theory. It's another to see what happens when real people with busy lives, long histories of unhealthy habits, and no special advantages, commit to this simple daily ritual. Their stories are proof that change is possible at any age, and that it doesn't take perfection to see remarkable results. Take Robert, a 68-year-old retired mechanic who had been living with high blood pressure for over 2 decades. His daily routine involved little more than watching television and running occasional errands. When his doctor warned him that he was one step away from needing stronger medication, Robert decided to try something different. He began starting each morning with 5 minutes of gentle stretching, deep breathing, and a large glass of water. Within 6 weeks, his blood pressure readings dropped enough for his doctor to reduce his medication. 6 months later, his cholesterol numbers had improved, and he was walking daily without the shortness of breath that used to slow him down. Or Maria, a 72-year-old grandmother who had been noticing troubling memory lapses. She worried it was the start of something serious. Encouraged by her daughter, she committed to the same habit, but she added a short walk in her garden after her breathing exercises. Over time, she noticed she was recalling names, details, and events more easily. Her confidence returned, and her family noticed her sharper wit and quicker responses in conversations. For Maria, it wasn't just about avoiding disease, it was about feeling like herself again. Then there's David, a cancer survivor in his early 60s. After treatment, he was determined to strengthen his body's defenses. He made the habit a twice-daily ritual, once in the morning and once before bed. He credits it with helping him rebuild his energy faster than expected, and his follow-up scans have remained clear for years. His oncologist told him that his consistent movement, oxygenation, and hydration likely played a role in keeping his immune system active and responsive. These stories aren't miracles. They are the natural result of giving the body what it needs to function optimally, day in and day out. The people who experienced these changes weren't fitness enthusiasts or health experts. They were ordinary individuals who made one small sustainable change and stuck with it. And that's the beauty of this habit. It doesn't require you to overhaul your life or become someone you're not. It only asks for a few minutes of your time and a willingness to keep showing up for yourself. Conclusion: the idea that health after 60 is a matter of luck is one of the most damaging myths we've been taught. While genetics play a role, your daily actions shape your future far more than most people realize. The habit we've explored isn't a trend or a temporary fix. It's a foundation, a way to maintain the systems that keep you alive, alert, and able to enjoy the moments that matter. When you move with intention, you strengthen your heart and vessels. When you breathe deeply, you feed your brain and calm your nervous system. When you hydrate, you support every cell in your body and keep your immune defenses active. These three simple actions, done consistently, create a ripple effect that touches every aspect of your health, from your memory to your cancer risk, from your energy levels to your resilience against stress. The real question isn't whether this habit works. The science, the stories, and the results speak for themselves. The question is whether you will give yourself the gift of consistency, whether you will plant the seed today that will grow into decades of strength, clarity, and independence. Your future self is waiting, not in some distant, unreachable place, but in the choices you make right now. You don't need a perfect plan or a flawless start. You just need to begin. And tomorrow, you do it again and again, until it's no longer something you try, but simply who you are. Aging is inevitable. Decline is not. The choice is yours, and it starts with a few minutes today.